one gameplay change. That's it. One note here. And, you know, it's kind of pathetic because Warzone, I mean, come on, it's a big game. You make one change with a patch. Are you f***ing serious? But let's see. Maybe it's a big change. Let's take a little peek here. Let's take a peek. Let's do a little reading. Loadout drops are now available, holy shit, for purchase via buy stations at any time during a game. This only applies to Battle Royale. Vanguard Royale rule sets differ. So I'm assuming Vanguard's going to still have the restriction for the 7 minutes. But regular BR, you can buy a loadout at any time, just like you could on Verdansk. Wow. So I'm going to start by saying this. I'm shocked. Tanner and I are on record saying we did not believe this would ever happen. We thought, if anything, the timer would be brought back, not completely reverted. However, I think probably what happened is many big streamers stopped streaming Warzone. So the player count was down tremendous. And they said, you know what? Even if we think this will hurt casuals in the long run, we are bleeding too many players. So we're going to appease streamers so that streamers start streaming our game again, so that their fans start playing Warzone again and buying our bundles. Even if this isn't in the best interest, as we see it, of the casuals. And therefore, the loadout drop change has been completely reverted. Wow. What are your thoughts, Tanner? Did you believe we would ever see the day?
No, I didn't think we would ever see the day. Of course, one thing they didn't put in the patch notes is that money was nerfed a considerable amount.
Oh, that's
great.
But
from what people have been saying, it's still like you can still get your loadout quick, which is, that's fine because the money did need to be nerfed, but it's like, let's put that in the patch notes rather than someone their game freezing on the tier skip redemption screen. I mean, you don't even need to put that in there. So that was the balance that needed to happen, though, and that's kind of what we talked about. We said if you need to, or we had said if we can buy a loadout right away with the amount of money in the game, make it 15 or 20,000. We can come up with that, and that's fine. So they kind of just did a little bit different. They'd lower the amount of money, and now it's still $10,000, and you can buy it whenever. So I think this is going to change Caldera completely. I think people are going to start having different opinions on it. The boys were already saying that it plays so well. It's so much better now. It's a lot of fun. So I'm very excited to get back into this. Yeah, never thought we'd see a full revert ever. Absolutely shocked that Activision would do something like that. Like usually something that's like a full revert on a major change they made, you see that happening on like smaller dev studios because they have a lot to lose and they want to retain their player base. But for a big studio like Activision, usually they just absolutely ignore what everyone wants. But you know, Raven did say we've been following feedback closely since the launch, and you know, it's pretty obvious that the overwhelming majority of people wanted this reverted, so they did it. There are still rumors that a Vanguard loadout change is coming, not a revert, but with season 2 you'll be able to buy it earlier, like in half the amount of time. I don't know, though, they didn't say that today, and you would think if they were going to do that it'd happen at the same time as this one. Well, maybe not, because is Vanguard Royale even in right now? I think it's just quads.
I don't know.
It's not even in, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's not in for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So that may actually line up. Maybe they'll do some tweaking on stuff like that, and then with season 2 we'll get a change to that, because there'd be no reason for them to announce it since it's not even in the game right now. So that's probably what we're going to see. Actually, we'll see a change to that
for sure.
But yeah, this is huge. I'm very excited. Another thing, honestly, Black Helicopters. This change will probably help Vanguard sales, because people know that leveling up their guns is a lot more important now. Like, I'm already thinking, like, fuck, man, I wish I had my Owen max instead of like level 40 that it is, because now I can make a loadout with that, use that right away, rather than just use the good ground loot one, you know, and make some changes to it. So this will probably help stuff like that. It'll probably help with the Vanguard player count slightly as well, because people will be leveling up more of their guns and stuff. So that could be a small reason. But I'm very excited to play this, very excited to try it. Didn't see this coming at all. I love it.
I didn't see it coming either. I absolutely saw a change coming because they were talking about it. So first of all, kudos to Raven. And honestly, kudos to Activision for allowing Raven to do this.
Yeah.
So we give credit where it's due, and I don't give Activision very much credit because it's very rarely due. But in this case, it is. They allowed their development studios to listen to consumer feedback, and they've implemented that feedback. I didn't think it was going to happen. I'm glad it did. I'd rather we have this than the system where we have to wait for 7 minutes. I still think there would have been merit to having it be like, you can't buy it for 3 minutes or something, but I'm totally happy with this. I think it's better than waiting 7 minutes. I'm excited by this. Obviously a net gain for me. And this is going to change a couple things pretty dramatically. The biggest change I see from this is that early game and where people drop in particular, let me rephrase this. Where people drop is going to change a lot now. And by extension, that's going to change how the early game of every match on Caldera now will play a lot.
Yes.
An absolute ton. So for example, one of our favorite drop spots is like Fields / the drop spot. I don't know if that's true anymore, because I bet you there's a lot more money to be had at Capital, for example. We never land Capital ever.
That's true.
We never do it. But if we know now that we can buy a loadout as soon as we get $10,000, then we're going to care a lot less about rotating out of a position and a lot more about where we can drop to get the most amount of money in the least amount of time possible. So I think even for us, this is going to change where we like to drop, where we are going to be dropping very often. And if that's the case for us, it's going to be the case for a lot of people as well. I think this is going to really break the game wide open. An early game is going to be a fuck of a lot different. And I think it's going to be a lot hotter on drop now. I think people are going to be way less spread out now, so it's going to make early game really exciting. There's going to be a new superstore, in other words, where there wasn't one before. You know, what are your thoughts?
I'm very glad you brought this up, because I was thinking about this morning when I read the change and totally forgot to write this down. You're absolutely right. I was thinking peak is probably going to be hotter than ever. Peak is going to be a fucking blast, because already quite a bit of people landed there, but then it was just that lull, you know? If you land peak, if you're playing quads, there's probably going to be 4 other teams there. It's going to be an insane battle, and there's a guaranteed buy station at peak, either down in the cave or up top every single time, as far as I know. And you know, you can get that shit right away. Oh, it's going to be fun, dude. You're absolutely right. This is going to make the drops a lot hotter.
Yeah.
So I just can't wait for that. I didn't even think Capital, but that's a really good point too. Yeah, I would love to start landing Capital, Resort, places like that are kind of just barren early game right now. There's like one team that'll land Resort.
Ton of buildings, ton of loot, no one lands there. That'll change.
What about Head? Get some Head too.
I think that'll get. I think Beachhead's still gonna. I think that will remain one of our favorite spots, because there is a lot of money on that building.
And there's always a chopper there. Yep. I feel like we're gonna see people drop more on helicopters more than ever now too, knowing that if you land and you win that first battle off the rip, and you have a buy station and you have a chopper, that's going to be ideal for the sweats to land there. So yeah, there will be some intense fighting, I think, in areas like that. I'm very excited.